Making an animal. So within Blender, I'm just going to hit General and I get given the default cube. I'm not going to use the cube. I'm actually going to get rid of it. And I'm actually going to use, I'm going to add a mesh and I'm going to add a UV sphere. Now I could potentially add more segments, more rings to it to make it a higher polygon count. But in this case, I'm just going to keep it as it is. Now, like I said, this is about making an animal. And I always find it easier to start off with a sphere than a cube because you've already got something to kind of work with a little bit more detailed shape in, if that makes sense, because this has got more faces, more polygons on it. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is scale this thing. I'm literally just going to grab that green bar there and drag it across, and this will act as the body for our creature. Now, on the edit mode, if I go here, you can see that all of the vertices are selected. I'm just going to click away so I can see them all. And if I just drag around, I can look at it from different angles. Now, my plan is I'm actually going to have a neck coming up from this area, a tail there, legs sticking out, and eventually we're going to add a head onto the neck, which I pull up as well. So I need to grab the very kind of middle section here, which I think is that one. And sometimes the reason why I'm saying think is because I know if it definitely is the right one. Because if I hit the Y there, I actually look right from the side and you can see I've actually kind of selected the right one. And if I just move around, you can see that part's there. Now, if I click on move and I grab that up, then what it does, it just brings up that line there. So if I'm just going to press undo, and that doesn't look like a neck. It doesn't look natural at all. But what I am going to do is click on this dot up here, which is proportional editing. And just to point out that there is a drop down list to choose from. Smooth is the default one, and that's fine for now. And I'm going to drag that up. And as you can see, it's actually bringing up all the other points with it. It's bringing them up in proportion. So that's my neck area done. And if I click on the minus Y, and I can click on this very middle one here, I'm going to have a go at doing my tail. So I've still got move selected. I've still got proportional editing selected. And if I drag it down, I've got my tail area. Now, legs-wise, I'm going to come underneath and I'm going to pull down 4 legs. So I'm going to click on the minus Z, so I'm looking at it straight underneath, and I'm going to kind of do a little bit of counting in some respects. So I'm going to click on that one there. I think this is the tail area now, isn't it? Doesn't actually matter at this point. And so I know I'm kind of probably going to end up clicking on this one over here as well. And this time, again, I'm using the move tool, proportional editing, but instead of using smooth, I'm going to use sharp. And if I drag that down, I end up having something there which looks a little bit like a leg at the back. Now, the other way I can do this, if I click on minus Z again to take me to there, I'm going to grab that other point and I'm going to start to drag that point down. This, oh my God, I just unselected it. What am I doing? Is that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. And I'm going to drag that down kind of so it's roughly about the same area. And as you can see then, it's starting to look like a saber-toothed tiger a little bit from that area. But I am going to grab this point in the middle because my legs, I think, look fine from the side. But obviously there's this big kind of drop down there. So I just want to bring that back up so it's more kind of natural. And then again, from this end, I'm going to grab this point and I'm going to drag that down like so. And I think it would be that one. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think so. Yeah, we'll see if it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off. In fact, I think it's actually that one there, isn't it? And I drag that down to roughly about the same area, and then do the same thing with the middle one as well. So lovely thing about using these tools is you end up kind of creating something which looks a bit natural rather than trying to kind of put cubes and circles together to try to mimic a shape of some sort. And the truth is, an animal or biological kind of creature kind of doesn't look perfect in terms of how it's structured. It's got a form, obviously, but this allows you to mess around with it a little bit. So at the moment, it's starting to look a little bit like a mammal of some sort, which has got 4 legs, a neck, and a tail. So I am now going to add a head, and potentially I could kind of grab onto these bits onto here. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight. So I'm going to grab these faces. I'm going to select these guys here. And I'm actually just going to extrude. Actually, what happens if I move those up? Actually, that's fine. I won't. So I was going to use the extrude tool, which is this one here. But with the move tool still selected, I should really change that back to smooth. But as I'm pulling that up, I'm thinking, actually, it looks quite good. So you can see I've got a neck of an animal. Now, the next thing I need to do, because I'm not going to do any more editing on this, I am literally going to add, and I'll need to go to object mode to do this is the best way. So you've got different objects. I'm going to add another sphere. and I'm going to move it up into the position of where the head roughly is, or where the neck roughly is. So across to here, and it's overlapping, and that's fine. Actually, I'm quite happy with that. In fact, I'll probably bring it down a little bit more. So it's like that. And then I'm going to manipulate this guy. So I'm going to go back to edit mode. I'm going to click on the vertices again, and roughly in the middle. So again, I can kind of find out, yeah, that's the middle one. In fact, I'll probably go a little bit lower. I'm going to make sure, so I've got move the move tool still selected, proportional editing. This time I'm going to go to smooth, and I'm going to drag that out, and I'm going to drag it down, and I've kind of got the nose. So it's starting to look more like a sheep or a deer of some sort. In fact, if I grab this part on the top here, and I change that back to sharp, I can then drag that up. So I've got almost like a ear on my sides. And again, I'm actually not going to count this down. I'm just going to grab another bit and see what it looks like when I pull them out. And then I've got a creature with a head. There we go. So play around with that. Now you might be looking at that thinking that looks like low polygon, and it does. So let's go back to object mode. If I right click on it and press shade auto smooth, right click on that guy and press shade auto smooth, and it actually starts to look like a proper 3D model.